Hey yo, what's the deal? You know who it is. It's the Don. Cheer! Tony Teflon. House Teflon. Teflon 316. We pull the strings. Cheer! And I'm back at you, my people, with another video. And this is the champion of the Red God of the law. And that obviously is Azor Ahai. And in all honesty, I was gonna do like everybody real quick who could be it. But I really don't see that it's necessary. I think it's clear that it's Jon is the champion of the law, and obviously now let me address a couple of things real quick. I got on the last video, I got a couple of questions that kept coming up, so let me try to address those questions real quick. One question was, oh, if the Starks are the sworn to the weirwood trees and to their whole face, so they couldn't be the champion of the seven, which is not true, because you don't have to believe in this God or respect this God like that to be that God's champion. It's not said whether the Targaryens followed the law, but while they were in King's Landing, they all got married under the faith of the seven. So we have to say they followed the seven. But Rhaegar, Aerys, and all these people all believed in the prophecy of the Red God's Azor Ahai. So they all believed it, even though they didn't practice that religion. All right. So it's possible to be that. And as of Jon is someone who practiced from the old God, but he is definitely the champion of the law. Now, to be the champion of the law, that is Azor Ahai. So who is Azor Ahai? Now, Azor Ahai came through, and he was a hero when darkness laid over a world. Azor Ahai was chosen to fight it. To fight the darkness, Azor Ahai needed to forge a hero's sword. So he labored for 30 days and 30 nights until he was done. However, when he tempered it in water, the blade broke. He was not to give up so easy, so he started again. The second time took 50 days and 50 nights, and this sword was better than the first. To temper it this time, he caught a lion, and he drove it through the lion's heart. But once again the steel shattered. And the third time, with a heavy heart, he knew what he had to do before he made the blade. He worked on it for 100 days, and at the night's finished, he called his wife Nisa and asked her to bear her breast. And then he drove the sword into her heart, and then the soul came into the sword, and that made Lightbringer the red sword of heroes. Now, right there it says that's who Azor Ahai is, and that's how he made the sword. Now, as I told people before, Nisa wasn't like she was like, here, go ahead, kill me. You don't see that there. He just called her in the room, asked her to pull her tit out. She don't know if he was gonna suck a titty. She don't know. And he just shoved the sword in her chest before, so you don't know if she was a willing participant in this. It doesn't say that she was. It just said he asked her to pull her titty out. He's a husband. So what do you think? She's gonna do it? She probably thought they were about to make a baby or something. You know what I mean? And he just took the sword and threw it through her because he knew what he had to do. All right. So in order for it to be the Lord's champion, you must be the new Azor Ahai reborn. So to be Azor Ahai reborn, it says, the prophecy, the day will come after the long summer when the star bleeds and the cold breath of darkness falls heavy on the world. In this dread hour, a warrior shall draw the fire of burning sword, and that sword shall be Lightbringer, the red swords of heroes. And he who clasps it shall be Azor Ahai come again, and the darkness shall flee before him. So right now, I'm going to, as a breaker of lies, I'm going to break a couple of lies about why Stannis Baratheon and Dany cannot be Azor Ahai. The reason is, if you just listen to what I just said, it says when darkness falls heavy across the world, that is when Azor Ahai will do that. And also says you'll wake stone dragons from Ariel to raise stone dragons, all right? Wake dragons from stone. So you have to, when Stannis got his sword, darkness hasn't fell heavy across the world. So the time wasn't right. When Dany got birth to dragons, there was no darkness that fell heavy across the world. So that would make me believe that she is not Azor Ahai. That is my reasons why they are not. So we go back to Jon. in order to be a Azor Ahai, you must have the birthright. And the birthright is to be of Mad King Aerys and his wife's child. Now, to go to this, we have to go into the Tower of Joy. Now, I know that recently, fellow YouTuber, who I like his videos very much, has done a video on the Tower of Joy, and he has basically, if you're asking me now, I'm going to do this before people put their comments. Watch this thing and then put their comments in my section. I'm going to take care of this right now. Do I believe his theory? No, not at all. In fact, if you want to believe it, then that's on you. I'm not telling you if it's right or wrong. If you ask me my opinion, I don't believe it. None of it. So I will go into my version of the Tower of Joy. But if you want to believe him, then go ahead. But that's on you. You know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if you're asking me, do I believe it? No. And so let's go into the Tower of Joy, because the Tower of Joy will prove that Jon's parents are R and L equal J. So R, Rhaegar Targaryen has the bloodline that would give Jon the bloodline, and that would take care of that part of making him the Red Guard. So let's go into the Tower of Joy and figure this out real quick.
Of 3 knights in white cloaks, and a tower long fallen, and Lyanna in a bed of blood. In the dream, his friends rode with him, as they had in life. Proud Martin Cassel, Jory's father, faithful Theo Wall, Ethan Glover, who had been Brandon's squire, Sir Mark Risewell, soft of speech and gentle of heart, the Crannock man, Howland Reed, Lord Dustin on his great red stallion. Ned had known their faces as well as he knew his own once, but the years leach at a man's memories, even those he has vowed never to forget. In the dream they were only shadows, grey wraiths on horses made of mist. They were 7 facing 3, in the dream as it had been in life. Yet these were no ordinary 3. They waited before the round tower, the red mountains of dawn at their backs, their white cloaks billowing in the wind. And these were no shadows. Their faces burned clear even now. Sir Arthur Dane, the sword of the morning, had a sad smile on his lips. The hilt of the great sword Dawn poked up over his right shoulder. Sir Oswald Went was on one knee, sharpening his blade with a whetstone. Across his white enameled helm, the black bat of his house spread its wings. Between them stood fierce old Sir Gerald Hightower, the White Bull, Lord Commander of the King's Guard. I looked for you on the Trident, Ned said to them. We were not there, Sir Gerald answered. Woe to the usurper if we had been, said Sir Oswald. When King's Landing fell, Sir Jaime slew your king with a golden sword, and I wondered where you were. Far away, Sir Gerald said, or Aerys would yet sit on the Iron Throne, and our false brother would burn in 7 hells. I came down on Storm's End to lift the siege, Ned told them, and the Lords Tyrell and Redwine dipped their banners, and all their knights bent their knee to pledge us fealty. I was certain you would be among them. Our knees do not bend easily, said Sir Arthur Dane. Sir Willem Darry is fled to Dragonstone with your queen and Prince Viserys. I thought you might have sailed with him. Sir Willem is a good man and true, said Sir Oswald. But not of the King's Guard, Sir Gerard pointed out. The King's Guard does not flee. Then or now, said Sir Arthur. He donned his helm. We swore a vow, explained old Sir Gerald. Ned?
All right. So basically we have Ned. He has this dream, right? So if you want to go into why is Ned having this dream, who is making him have this dream, or why he's having this fever dream, you could ask yourself these questions. There is no definitive answer. Could it be Blood Raven looking for information in Ned's head or something like that? Yes, but there's no answer. No one can tell you why. So we don't know. We just know he's dreaming. It could just be a regular dream, right? So he's dreaming of these nights, and he sees the battle at the tower where Jon is born, all right? So first he sees Lyanna in the bed of blood. A bed of blood, Obviously, we know what a better blood is. A better blood is someone dying in childbirth. During back in the day, this is what it is. All right, we know this. Now, so the people are out there. The king's guard are guarding this tower. And he's wondering, why are you at this tower? Why are you guarding this thing? How come you weren't on the battlefield? We looked for you there. They weren't there on the battlefield. And he looked at him. How come you didn't go with the queen, who was with Sir William Darry? All right, why aren't you with her, your pregnant queen? He says, so William Darry is a good man, but he's not of the king's guard. And our legs do not bend. Well, first he says, Ned says, all right, he's seen the other guys from the Tyrells, and they all dip their banners in their bed. He says, and then he said this thing about Sir William Darry, and then he's like, Sir William Darry is a good man, but he is not of the king's guard. Our knees do not bend, and we swore a vow, sir, a vow. All right, so what is this vow? That is why they're there. This vow that they swore that they're willing to risk their life for. Now, let me go into this whole other thing real quick before I go finish this real quick. First off, to believe that Daenerys is the daughter of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen is kind of, I mean, please, it's just, think about it. So what happened? This lady who bore Daenerys, her mother, died during birth. Sir William Darry was there when this happened. Right? There are other people are there when she gives birth. People know her of being pregnant. All right? That this lady, it's not like this lady wasn't pregnant the whole time. She was pregnant, right? So we know she's pregnant with this king's baby for 9 months. So she gives birth during the storm, all right? That's why we call her Stormborn. So you would have to say that, what happened to the mother? Did she just didn't die and she just is hiding out and not looking after her daughter? No, she died during childbirth. And you know why she died? Because her birth is parallel to Jon's. You see? Because she died during a storm. That is why she is storm born. That's when she was born, during a storm. That is why she is storm born. Jon was born during a storm of sorts. And that is what connects them there too. So, I mean, it's really ridiculous to me. I really don't even want to go into it too much. I mean, but you'd have to say, when you write a story, right? What good would it do for you to tell these people the whole time there's only one true-born Targaryen in this whole story left, and that is Daenerys Targaryen? And now all of a sudden, oops, at the end of the last book, after all these books, oh, I lied, she's really a half-Stark. Ha ha ha. I mean, come on, man. Really? Are you serious? She is the Targaryen. She's the Targaryen bloodline of this book, of this whole thing. If anyone's a Targaryen full blood, it's her. That's what the book is made about. See, people, you can't change things in the book to suit your purpose. And that's what people like to do. They like to change things. And when there is already a story, a background given on the character that's in stone, that's what it is. You can't change it to fit your thing. If they say this person has blacker hair, you can't say, well, maybe there was glamour in his hair and a bow tie. The bow tie in his hair was glamour to make it look. Come on, man. Listen, there's a reason why. I mean, to me, Sir Arthur Dayne is a character that wasn't supposed to be as popular as he became. And he became this popular because he has this sword, and people just took to the sword, and that's why they like him. So that's my belief on that real quick. So let me just go. So the main thing you have to take from that is they have an oath, and that's why they're there. They swore oath.
The wraiths moved up beside him with shadow swords in hand. They were 7 against 3. And now it begins, said Sir Arthur Dayne, the sword of the morning. He unsheathed Dawn and held it with both hands. The blade was pale as milk glass, alive with light. No, Ned said with sadness in his voice. Now it ends. As they came together in a rush of steel and shadow, he could hear Lyanna screaming, "Eddard!" she called. A storm of rose petals blew across a blood-streaked sky, as blue as the eyes of death. "Lord Eddard!" Lyanna called out again.
All right, so here we go. So if you listen to that sword description, we're going to Lightbringer. Well, I'll do that in a second. But so you see the rose petals going across the blood surface sky again after they fight. Now, obviously, we know that the Kralink man, Howland Lee, is not a great skilled swordsman. So what was he doing during this fight? How was he able to help Ned survive Sir Arthur Dayne? Well, I would think it's pretty obvious that the other guys, when they were fighting the Ironborn, they were shooting stuff from the trees to fight them and getting them sick. So I would believe he probably had some type of projectile, which people who didn't sword fight that good had back then. So he probably had a projectile of some sort and was able to stun Sir Arthur Dayne before Ned was able to kill him. Another significance is that sword, Lightbringer. And the Sir Arthur Dayne stories let you know that the person that is the sword of the morning doesn't have to be a Dane. The sword goes to anyone who is worthy of it. So if this sword, Lightbringer, sword of the morning, the sword he has, if his sword he has, Dawn, is Lightbringer, which it says the sword is alive with light, and is a good possibility, we know that Ned Stark had the sword. He supposedly dropped it off and gives it back to his sister. But we know he has the sword, so that could be a significance of that. So, once again, I go back to the point where to prove that Jon Snow is Lyanna's son and Rhaegar's son, that's what we're trying to prove here. She is described as the Blue Rose throughout the whole books. We know she gets a crown from Rhaegar. She's the Blue Winter Rose. There's no doubt about that, right? We know this. So, when Jon is at the wall, we see a vision of a blue rose growing out of the wall. If Jon is not her kid, why is that blue rose up there? What's it there for? It's there because Jon's her kid. That's why it's there, and that's what they're telling you. I know that people don't want to believe it anymore that R-L equals J because it's been so long and people have figured it out. But it doesn't mean you have to make something now. I know it doesn't seem as much as a mystery now. That's because everyone's had 10 years to figure it out. But when it first came out, it was a mystery. So that's what you have to look at. So I know it may seem easy now to figure out, but think about it like that. When it first came out, no one, and right now we still don't really know. But come on, you have to. It is what it is. It's not hard to tell. All right, so. We have Jon, the snow flower growing out of the wall. Who's at the wall? Jon. Who's related with the flower? Lyanna. All right, so we have that connection there. She tells Ned to promise me. Ned, promise me. What is this promise? What could this promise mean? The promise is obviously to keep my fucking son safe and don't let Robert kill my son, because obviously we know that is what would happen. Promise cannot be anything else but that. And promise cannot be Ned to keep Daenerys safe, because you want to go by that philosophy of Ned keeping Daenerys safe. When Ned gets into the fight with Robert over killing Daenerys, he leaves ready to go back to Winterfell. If he really wanted to keep her safe, he would have stayed there and fought, right? No, he said, "Oh, this is a done deal. We're gonna kill her. Oh, all right, I'm out then. You're gonna kill her, peace. I'm out." He would have stayed and tried to help her. But the reason why he stays is because Littlefinger then brings him to meet Robert's bastard, stalling him so Jaime Lannister had a chance to catch up with him, then stabs him, then he has the dream. It wasn't a dream that kept him there, it was Robert's bastard that he found. That's what kept him there. All right? So, some people like to leave out the little parts, but it's the little parts that matter. Look at the whole story. You can't just pick and choose what you want. So, once again, the oath. This is why they are there. What is this oath that they have swore? And I think that we can find this oath, and I think it's pretty easy that we can find this oath in Jaime's dream that he had. Now, Jaime has a dream about the same Kingsguardsman, all right? And Jaime has a sword of fire, but in this sword of fire, it is silver, not red. And we know that Azor Ahai's sword is red, so that's why Jaime cannot be that. Also, to be Azor Ahai, he had Nissa. Nissa, you're going to need someone to love to kill to get that sword. Jaime really doesn't have anyone that he truly loves, that truly loves him, and that he truly loves, all right? So, Jaime has a dream about these same Kingsguard men, and this is what it says in there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the part that matters. 5 of them have been his brothers: Oswald Went, John Darry, Lewin Martell, and the Prince of Dawn. And the Prince adorned the white bull Gerald Hightower, Sir Arthur Dane, the Sword of the Morning, and besides them, crowned in the midst of Greece, with his long hair streaming behind them, rode Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince of Dragonstone and rightful heir to the Iron Throne. "You don't frighten me," he said. This is Jaime, turning as they split on each side of him. He did not know which way to face. I will fight you, one of you, or all together. But who is there for the wrench to duel? She gets crossed when you leave her out. All right. "I swore an oath to keep him safe," she said, to Rhaegar Shade. "I swore a holy oath." All right. Sir Arthur Dane. "We all swore oaths," said Sir Arthur Dane, so sadly. The Shades dismounted from their ghostly horses. When they drew their long sword, it made a sound. "He was going to burn the city," Jaime said, "to leave Robert with only ashes." "He was your king," said Darry. "You swore to keep him safe," said Wint. And the children, them as well," said Prince Lewin. So here you have them saying, right, that they have sworn oath, right? She says to keep him safe, Brienne, in the dream. "I swore oath to keep him safe." All of a sudden, they say, "We all swore oaths." And what was the oath? Now they say right here, an oath to keep the king safe, right? The king safe. That is the oath that they swore. And they say, right? Because Jaime goes, "Oh, he was going to burn the city to the ground. Leave it to Robert." And they said, "You swore to keep him safe." That's the oath of the king's guard, to keep the king safe. Now it says in the beginning of this, if you listen, it says, "And besides them, crowned in the midst of grief, with his long hair streaming behind him, rode Rhaegar Targaryen, Prince of Dragonstone and rightful heir to the Iron Throne." So he was the rightful heir to the Iron Throne because he was the prince of the king. That is why he was upset. So the oath of the king's guard is to protect the king and the king's children. So they're there to protect the king's children. Rhaegar's child is there, the rightful new king. That is their oath that they swore. That is why they are there. So I think that right there should be all you need to know that R plus L equals J. And that makes him of the right bloodline to be Azor Ahai. Now, I think that covers that. Last thing I will say on this is this. If you agree that when George R. R. Martin met with David Weiss and Dan Benioff, whatever his last name is, right, to do Game of Thrones, he asked them a question: who is Jon Snow's parents? Supposedly, they got it right. Now, if we believe that they did get it right, do you think that they guessed Daenerys Targaryen? Do you think that they guessed that uh, the Chronic Man is sleeping with a Sheriff Dame? You think they read these books like that? Come on, man. And if they got it right, the only thing they guessed is what we're saying right now. That Rhaegar is his father and Lyanna is his mother. That's the bottom line, folks. So let's go on it that he is that bloodline. So now to be Azor Ahai, the next thing you must have is the sword. We have a follower now that of R'hllor that sees Jon as Azor Ahai, and that's Melisandre. When she looks into the flames, she says she looks for Azor Ahai, all she sees is snow. Before that, she sees the long face of Jon Snow. So she also sees daggers in the dark. Jon is killed, so Azor Ahai must be reborn. Jon is killed. When he is killed, we have the tears of Bowen Marsh. We have the smoke from the wounds. We have the star of the giant swinging the man in the sky at that particular time. So we have all the elements of him being reborn right there. And of salt and smoke. When he is stored in the meat place downstairs, which they use to preserve food, which obviously they use salted beef down there all the time. So there's also extra salt there. So that is that. So last thing I have to say is the sword. He would have to have the sword, and Jon has a dream himself of the sword. And it says, Burning shafts hits upwards, trailing tongues of fire. Scarecrow brothers tumbled down, black cloaks ablaze. Snow, an eagle cried as foemen scuttled up the ice like spiders. Jon was armored in black ice, but his blade burned red in his fist. As the dead men reached the top of the wall and he sent them down to die again, he slew a graybeard and a beardless boy, a giant, a gaunt man, and a filed teeth, a girl with a thick red hair, too late to recognize, and it was Egret. She was gone quickly as she disappeared. So, Jon here has a dream with him holding a burning sword. A sword that could be Lightbringer. It's burning his hand. Right? First, we see the eagle, which we know is the guy that Melisandre killed, and he says Jon's name. So we know this is Jon up there. The eagle cried. We see the people coming up the wall like spiders. It was described that back in the day when the Azor Ahai fought, they rode on ice spiders. So here we have guys crawling up like ice spiders. So that's probably kind of like American Z. You can probably look at it like that. American History Z. That's what it probably looks like them coming up. Jon was armored in black ice. Now, obviously we know it's not black ice. I believe that this armor is his father's armor. Rhaegar Targaryen's black armor. He's the only guy we know that wore black armor in Barry on a regular basis. And I think obviously he's a Lord of Dragonstone. So I think that his armor was made out of dragon glass. That's why that's why it shines like ice, because it's made out of dragon glass, this armor. And I think that is used to fight the White Walkers. Alright? That is my opinion of it. So he's killing people left to right. As you can see, there are a whole bunch of whites reanimated. There's a graybeard one, a boy, a giant. So they have killed, the White Walkers have wiped out thousands of people that they can reanimate these guys. They wiped out giants, they wiped out boys, they wiped out girls, they wiped out everything. And they're coming up the wall. So just like that, that is why they are there. And that is why I believe that Jon, with that sword right there, which he will have to make. So, well, where is the sword and where is this armor? I believe the sword and the armor is in the crypts of Winterfell. And I think when he goes down there, that is what he will find. That is why when he goes down there, he screams, he is not a Stark, but he still must go. Because that place is for Stark kings. You understand that? When he says that in that prophecy, he goes, the lords of Stark kings are there with wolves by their feet and iron swords in their lap. So he doesn't want to go down there because he's not a male line of the Starks, but he's a female line of the Starks, and his mom's statue is down there. That's why he has to go. But that's why he doesn't want to go, because he's not a male line. That's what's fighting him. But he has to go because his mother is down there, and his mother's going to have Rhaegar's armor, and Dorne will be there. And I think that once that sword already shines with light, I think once he stabs the person he loves, which I do believe will be Dany, and he stabs her and kills her with it because he has to, I think then it will burst into flames, and I think that is how it will go down. So I don't think I can say anything else about this. I hope that that wraps up this whole situation. Once again, but before I do, I have gotten a question again about this pink letter and Mance Rayder. God. Let me explain. This is the last comment I'm going to do about this. So if you put a comment on my page, not that I don't want to answer, I just feel that I have enough. This will be the last time. Someone asked me, what if Mance wrote the letter before? Think about this. All right, before. How does Mance, think about it. How would Mance know the outcome of what happened before? So that's that, right? He's just going to guess that Stannis is going to be defeated and all this stuff and just put a letter out there. And Mance is at Winterfell. How would any word reach him of this, whatever happened? Let's say Ramsay really did defeat Stannis in battle there. Ramsay would have to send a raven from that battle right then to Winterfell. By the time it got to Winterfell, Roose and them would have to read it, and he would have to overhear it. After he overheard it, then he would have to write the letter and send the letter out. Find it. But before all this happens, he's already being hunted by all of the people that are looking for the Spear Wives because Arya's been abducted. So there's no way. There's no way. Alright? That is the last I'll say that. So I will go into the next thing will be the the uh the Great Others champion. I will tell you exactly who the Great Others champion really is and why he is. So please subscribe to me. Please tell your friends about me. Like this, thumbs up this, and we will get into, and I will keep this going. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I ain't got a lot of subscribers. Like the other, and let me say the other guy who makes on the other channel, I love his stuff. I don't want this dude to think I'm dissing him. I just happen to disagree with him at this time or anything, but everything else I do love his stuff, and I think a lot of his stuff is solid. But I just think that this time it's boom, 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 boom. Better luck next time, son. So as always, it's the Don Totally Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings. Peace. And I'm out. The People's Champ. The best in the biz, baby. And you know it.